Hi, this is Jen with Rosen Collection. Today I'll be going over how to attach a binding to a quilt or mug rug using a serger machine and then a sewing machine. So this is a little mug rug that I am making, and so I have my binding here. I have done a 90-degree angle and folded it over. For this, we'll actually be turning it to the back to attach the binding on the serger machine. And what I have done is cut my binding. It's kind of whatever size you want. This, I believe, is a 3-inch binding. It was a leftover binding piece that I had from another quilt. And so I have kind of sized it to this piece so it's not going to be super long leftovers. And I have folded that down and then folded it in half again and ironed. So I want this to be down at the bottom, kind of a little bit offset. I prefer to use these clips. They are awesome. I use them more so than needles. I have small dogs and a toddler running around, so it's a lot safer than having needles. So I kind of just start off with doing that. When it comes time on the serger, we will be doing a 45-degree angle on the serger, and I will show what that looks like. So let me get that all pulled up. I have my serger set as a 3-thread overlock and the width set to position that I like. I do prefer to use the blade cutting just to make sure that it is 100% straight. If there's any excess, it's not going to bunch up in a section. I am able to turn it off. It's just what I prefer to do. I always make sure that that presser foot is down and run a sample through to make sure the stitch does look the way I would like it to. And it is looking good to me. So we will take what we prepared to start sewing and actually start sewing a few inches below this opening here, because that is where we're going to tuck in the end piece. So this tends to be a little more of a difficult position here. So I try to tuck it where I can, and I know where that is going to start stitching. And when I feel comfortable, I remove that last clip, but it's more for getting it positioned. Start stitching down. And when we get to this corner here, we are going to do a 45-degree angle, so that looks kind of in that angle there at that corner. So it'd be the equivalent of folding that to a 90-degree angle. So we just kind of watch where that needle is, and then we'll kind of pull off to that corner. Pull and kind of turn it and run it off. And take that and snip it. And this is going to be the corner. So I fold it up, hold it, and bring it back down. So it'll have a nice little pocket to create that corner. And I make sure that it's going to be over the stitch enough to cover that up. And this is again where you can put some binder clips on. I tend to like to, just to make sure that it's going to get where I want it to be. right underneath there. So I can even get this cut because it's going to finish off that edge. So I usually leave my serger foot down and lift it up. And remove that clip. Make sure I am straight here. And sometimes it starts bunching, so I just lift the foot, straighten out that binding piece. And then we're coming up on another corner, so remember that 90 degree. And watch the needle there. So I go and twist away from that. Cut that again. And same thing. So 90 degree angle straight up. And then bring that back down. So 90 degrees. Kind of hold your thumb there and bring it back down. Place the thumb back over. And bring that back down. Again, I like to use the clips just to... Sorry, I keep bumping the camera today. Bring a clip. I know that's upside down, but it's not going to stay on for very long. Just long enough for me to make sure I get this back underneath the foot just fine. Don't want to have to lose my spot. Remember to like, share, subscribe, add any comments, questions, things you'd like to see in the videos. I can always go back and add some and more information if you'd like. And continue to sew that. And another corner here. So paying attention. Pull that up and turn. Finish that off. And cut. And so 90 degrees. Up. Hold it. Bring it back down. Make sure it has enough room to go over those stitches and it's not short. If it is short, it'd be looking like that, and then it's not going to fold over correctly. So always make sure it's up. Nice 90 degree. Bring back down, make sure it's over. And take a clip. Clip that on, and it twisted. So I will just remove that clip seeing as I have it down and the pressure on. So there we go. Again, it's kind of bunching, so I lift that up a little bit. Check that it's straight. My last corner, still the same thing. See where you're at. Watch where it goes with the needle there. Move that out of the way and turn. Finish that. And cut it here. And 90 degrees, hold, bring back down, trying to do different finger holds so you can see the difference. So 90 degrees over that and bring it back down. So this starts to change it just a little bit. because once we get to this point, I'm going to have to stop and tuck this in before I can finish sewing to end the binding. So I will show you how to do that. And I want to make sure that I didn't short myself, and I think I did. So 90 degrees. I'll change a little bit of lighting there. I also want to do a shout out to my niece Hannah. Hi Hannah, thank you for watching. And so there we go, that looks better. And so just got to pay attention to where that tail is. And make sure I'm going to pedal. I am going to stop there. And so what I am going to do is, let's see if I could, I think I might actually be able to. Go ahead and cut almost an inch past that end point there. And cut that off. Wish I didn't have this little thing there, but, and once again, a 90-degree angle. Let's see if I have this guy. If you know exactly the size that it's going to be, for sure with the corners, you can always pre-iron this as well. And with this being an end piece, kind of wish it was just an inch longer there, but it's not. So I'm going to tuck that under there, just so it has room to go in this little pocket created by the other one. So I want that to go underneath that foot. My needle is down, so I have that tucked down, and go ahead and tuck that down inside there, and make sure we are close to the edge. Or else it will have a hole in your binding. It takes a little bit of practice. Takes a little bit of practice to get used to it. Like I said, I'm just kind of tucking and pushing that to make sure it's as flat as it can be. But with that seam there, it's being a little more difficult than I would have liked. So this is kind of where I like it to be able to trim a little bit off. I believe my heater just kicked on for some reason, so I do apologize. And try to finish this off here. Yeah, just making sure that all that is tucked and being caught in that stitch. So and then I kind of run over it and then kind of 90-degree angle it like we would with those feet. That looks good. So I will cut my thread here. And so I always flip it over and make sure that it grabbed all of it, and it appears that it has. So I will go ahead and trim those little tails off. Go ahead and trim those little tails off. Should not come unraveled. You can tuck them if you like. I have yet to have any problems with anything I've made with those corners, just because they are kind of reinforced with going over each other. So what I will go quickly do is fold these outward and kind of see where that's going and how those corners start to form. And I will go to the iron and iron these down. So the next step is we're going to get the regular sewing machine out and just do a straight stitch over the binding. Alright, so I have the binding folded over and ironed, and then I went and around and did the clips for those corners. I just do the 90° and iron them down and then clip them. So on the back you can tell that the binding is a lot smaller of the area. If you see some of the blue, it is from a water-soluble marker that was not so water-soluble. I'll have to actually wash this for that to come out instead of just using water. My guess is that it's going into the batting and coming back up. I tried about 4 or 5 times, almost completely soaking it, letting it. I won't be using that brand again. It was one I got from, I believe, Hobby Lobby, and sorry about that bump there. And it just says Japan on there. Disappearing and marked be gone. I don't really have a brand for you, but I've been having all kinds of problems with that coming out, so I will not be using that one again. And so I like to start around the bottom. I did have a little bit of difficulty with that thick part. I did have to trim some of it out. If I could go back, I'd go ahead and just cut it short, because it should be fine inside of there. I wouldn't have left that bunch there. But, you know, it's just fabric. We all make mistakes. So I will actually start on the bottom corner. Biggest thing is trying to make sure that that is straight. So I will go ahead and start here. This is my Bernette B77 that I am sewing on. It has the automatic backstitch feature on it, which I love, so it ties the knot and everything for me. And I think I just had a blooper. I was doing free motion with this before, and my feed dogs are down. So that explains that problem, but easy fix. Just have to slide my tray out. And it is good to go now. There we go. Now we're moving forward. So I just go and do a stitch right inside that just to keep that edge down. It will leave a line stitch on the back, so I try to be as straight as possible. With this little lump here, it's going to be a little more on the difficult side. Make sure my setting is a little different. Should have checked that before I started. Sorry, it's been a while since I've done a video. I had some dental work done, and so I have not had the time to do it quite yet. So just stitching around the outside. Look behind it. Gotta make sure that it is going straight the way I want it. And don't have to go fast around this. Once again, there's another corner. So I tend to go over the corner a little bit and back stitch. And then keep my needle down and turn it for that 90-degree angle. and put my presser foot back down. This machine is awesome because there's no levers in the back. And then I also have it set to keep the needle down when I stop. And so we will just continue going around. Basically how I keep my spot on here is I keep it lined up on the foot of a spot that I see, and I try to keep it there. I also have a magnetic piece that keeps it lined up here. I tend to use that more for garment sewing than quilting. And again, I back stitch a little bit, lift my foot, the needle down, put my foot back down. This will also start going and put the foot down for me. I just prefer to push that button, I guess. And remember to like, share, subscribe to Rosen Collection. Every bit of sharing helps. If there's any questions, comments, things you'd like to see, let me know in the comments below. I do try to respond to those within 24 hours. So I do constantly monitor that. And this also has the cut and tie. And so I don't have to worry about that at all. So there we go. That is doing the binding with a sewing machine and a serger. So it does do the line around there. Different thicknesses of the binding will also pull that stitch mark a little better. I actually ran out of pink thread, so I ended up having just to use purple, so I would have gone with a light pink on the bobbin. But that is the finished product. Thank you for watching.